want to show you guys the gauges real quick. We're in park just to make sure. So just want to do a quick rev. Don't want to do anything stupid, but so there we go in park. The interesting thing right here, you got the little light bars instead of, you know, the standard gauge for the fuel. It's kind of cool. Outside temperature, blah blah blah. Speed right there. The cool thing is these 3 gauges right here. That's one of the big things that I thought was really neat about this car. So you got the, I don't know if you can see it very well, but the temperature gauge for the oil and the electrical voltage gauge for the battery. He's running a aftermarket stereo system on this thing. That's him right there. That's the man. That's the real guy. So yeah, so let's go take a look at his stereo real quick. This thing is not stock, so I'll show you what I mean in a second. Alright guys, so we're here in my friend Yousef's 370z. What year is it again?
2010.
2010? Alright, so we're gonna start it up and see how this goes.
That's my house key.
Where's the...
Put this bottom left.
Okay.
Shove it in there.
Gotcha.
See a little slot?
So bam. So the key, it's kind of keyless. You don't turn the key. You put it in and then you brake and then, I'm guessing, hold to start. So we're good to go. So what's special about this car from what I understand, he has a full muffler delete.
It's a Nismo catback exhaust system with the muffler delete.
So I'm going to try to pull out of this thing very carefully. It's pretty low. I don't want to do anything to the car. I think we're going to be okay. So
now it's
put it in drive, normal drive mode.
Yeah,
off.
it's an automatic. Leave me alone.
I'll leave it.
I like it.
All right, so we're off. First impressions. It feels heavier than the E36, but it does feel heavier. The steering is a lot tighter. You're gonna notice that, yeah, the steering rack is a lot tighter, a lot shorter to lock. So twist it around a little bit. You feel the car moving. Mine, you kind of have to fling it around. It's just quicker steering. So that's the first thing you're gonna notice. Looking at the dash, you're gonna notice that the rev meter, tachometer, is located right in the center. Unlike a lot of other cars where it's actually going to be the speed gauge in the center. So on this car, it's kind of, you know, sport themed because you want to keep track of where your revs are. And this engine revs to 7,500 RPM, which is pretty darn high. Mine redlines at about 7 flat, so this is pretty good. So yeah, what's the ride feel like so far? The ride's, it's pretty stiff. You feel more or less pretty low on this car. Do anything to the suspension, or is it pretty stock?
It's all stock.
It's all stock? Yeah. So this thing rides no Nismo suspension, or does it have?
No, it's all stock.
So even the stock suspension on this car, it rides very firm, but it's not uncomfortable. I think it'd be a little bit more jarring, but it's actually pretty refined for this car. So I'm gonna just take it out a little bit further before we give it too much gas anywhere, because we don't have the best visibility on this road. What else do you know? It has paddle shifters because it's the 7-speed automatic.
It's the 6-speed automatic, 7-speed manual.
Okay, so
you can pop it in manual by pushing the.
So let's pop this guy into manual mode real quick. Flick it over to the left. So now we're in 4th gear. Let's flip it down 1 to 3rd. There we go. Yeah, so you can feel the torque come on very quickly when you put it in manual mode, because it almost shifts like an actual manual. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. So you go down to 2nd, it'll automatically rev match for you, which is very cool, unlike my car, which doesn't rev match at all. It just kind of slams you into gear, which is probably horrible for transmission. So let's go back to 3rd because we're getting a little too high there. Ironically, right now, the windshield wiper light came on saying that the fluid is low.
I'm working on it.
So obviously my friend over here is missing up on the maintenance a little bit.
Just
you know, he's probably lost a couple hundred horsepower there with that
I lost
that
my
windshield wiper. Yeah, so
yeah, like 450 in total.
Yeah, he's not going to pass. Well, I guess Japanese road safety regulations because his windshield wiper is low. Anyways, that's not why we're here though. But yeah, so the other thing is the exhaust is quite noticeable through the hatchback cabin. It's a hatchback. This is not the convertible, obviously.
Fuck convertibles.
This is actually going to be the coupe.
Unless it's a Miata, then I told them a story.
Exactly. So let's see. Taking turns, it goes in. No nosediving. It's very flat. So from what I know so far is you're getting very flat on turns. You don't get a lot of body lean. Just pretty much no body lean, to be completely honest. The steering's extremely sharp. You feel the whole thing. So you feel every bump in the road, but it's not jarring. Like I said again, like my car is kind of a little jarring sometimes. This one's flat. It's centered. It hugs the road well, from what I can tell. Very good car in general. It's just it feels very tight and very controlled. How about the interior? Well, first thing you're gonna notice, leather seats. It does have leather seats on this thing. You're also gonna notice that there is actually a voltage gauge, which is this is one of the first cars where I've seen a voltage and a oil temperature gauge on the car. Short of maybe like a M3 or like a, I don't even know. Not that many cars have the voltage meter on them anymore, so that's something pretty cool. Considering that this guy's running 2, 3, what is it? How many subwoofers do you have in this car?
3.
3. So he has 12 inches or 10 inches?
I have 2 12 inches and 1 10 inch.
Okay, so he's running 2 12s and a 10, and
1200 watt amp.
Exactly, on a stock battery from what I understand. So the voltage meter is probably going to come in most handy for when he's blasting the stereo with his car off, so he can make sure he doesn't kill the battery. I've done that with my car many times because I don't have a voltage meter, so play stereo for too long, it'll crank and it won't start, so I'm going to have to get a jump, and that's kind of embarrassing when you're on the side of the road or in the gym parking lot. You don't want to do that.
This car's very tail happy, so...
Alright, I'm just going to wait on this because...
Oh, and also it downshifts for you.
Okay.
Coming to a stop.
Okay, gotcha. So, auto downshift, auto red match. It's pretty good. I'll wait for these guys to pass.
No, I've never been down this road.
So we're gonna leave traction control on for today because I'll let him do the traction control list stuff because it's his
I still
car.
don't trust myself to do it,
but
I'll do it.
Maybe in a later video we'll see him do some shenanigans, but I'll let him deal with his own car because I don't want to mess anything up. Okay, here we go.
Under closed roads.
Under closed road conditions, definitely. Okay, so what did I do wrong? I hit the windshield wiper stock because it's right next to the window, the freaking steering wheel.
Gear changer.
Gear changer. I tried to click the upshift paddle when I was pulling out of there, and I accidentally hit the windshield wiper. So I guess
You can also shift from here.
You can also shift down here on the stock, which honestly, maybe
up is up, down is down. Simple enough.
Maybe a little bit more useful. It's kind of odd getting used to paddle shifters sometimes if you've never done a paddle shift. It's a lot better though if you want to keep your hands on the wheel in this car.
When you change gears, there's a slight lag, but it's nothing too bad. Could be better.
So visibility in this car, it's alright. It's not as bad as I thought actually.
No, it's shit. It's absolute shit.
It's not as bad as some of the other things I've driven, but this is
Gotta get some downshifts in there. Sounds nice.
There we go. Okay. So we're gonna go down this road again. Yeah. So the visibility, A-pillars, it's pretty terrible. It's kind of like the newer cars where pretty much anything I'm doing, like our XC90 or XC70 Volvo, same problem. It basically, you have big old A-pillars for safety regulations, and then you take it a turn, you can't see who's in the crosswalk, and well, it's kind of not very good when you're taking turns quick because you can't see what's around the turn. Rear visibility is actually, it's okay. You can see out the back window. It's not as bad as you would expect, possibly.
This car is not meant for tall people, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I'm only like 5 foot, I think 8 or 9, maybe 10. Not that tall, but I sit perfectly comfortably in here. I think Yousef's like same height probably. So
5'8".
He's 5, yeah, so pretty much the same thing. So if you're like 6 foot or above, it may not,
6'3" or higher,
may not be the best car, pretty much. So let's do a little pull here. So yeah, you do get quite a bit of a pull. The torque kicks in about, I'd say 3,500, a lot lower than my car. You don't have to rev the engine quite as much. Bigger engine, so you get a lot more low ends. It's a 3.7 liter, so 3.7 liter naturally aspirated V6 Nissan. So
on paper, it says the power band's at 4,200.
On paper, it says the power band's 4,200. I beg to differ. I'm in 4th gear right now. You tap the throttle, you get a significant jump. Like, I mean, I'm at 3,000 RPM. I'm tapping the throttle, and I can already feel it kind of pulling. So I don't know about that 4,000. It probably is the maximum. You know, ideal power band is above 4,000, but you're going to be just fine at above 3 for most daily driving. This thing has more than enough power to do that. How much do you know the weight of this car exactly?
The size of this car?
For the size of this car, it's more than enough.
Fucking heavy.
It's more than, yeah.
I think it's over 3,300 pounds.
It's a heavy car, I'm not gonna lie, but the brakes, with a big brake kit on this thing, it's more than enough to stop it. I mean, this thing grabs. It grabs. You give it like halfway on the pedal and it's already, you can feel the thing grabbing the calipers, calipers grabbing the discs. It's pretty darn grippy, and they're right towards the side. The brakes, actually, to my liking, they're not really like right at the top of the pedal. Like if I was driving my friend's Acura, he has RDX, a new 2016 RDX. That thing's weird. It's such a strange car compared to this, because this one feels more like a sports car should feel. It's linear throttle. You give it a little bit of throttle, it progresses as you go on. The Acura, you tap the throttle, you squeal your front tires. You do a front wheel drive burnout on the thing pulling out of parking lots. You're not even trying to do it on purpose. It's just jumpy all around. And the brakes on the Acura are the same way. They're incredibly jumpy. So throttle's linear, brakes are linear. You have to push in about halfway. It's pretty similar to my car, the brake feel, but they're a lot grippier.
You don't downshift enough, man.
I
love the hear of downshifting.
I'm used to driving an automatic, guys, so don't hate on me right now.
Well, I mean, this is automatic too, but it has
yeah,
a
but
manual
his does have a manual mode that is very effective. But the cool thing about this is we're going down a hill right now. You can let it engine brake, so you don't have to be riding your brakes. You can just flip it into second, first, like any of the newer cars with a Steptronic or Geartronic or whatever the auto manufacturers want to call it, transmission, where you can manually pick your modes and it'll shift for you. And that's good because you can just ride down hills in second gear, engine brake just like a manual, and not have to worry about things blowing out your brakes unnecessarily. Like, I have to kind of ride my brakes unless I flip it into second or first, which works, but the transmission really wasn't designed to be manually shifted on my car. This one resolves those problems. Honestly, it kind of makes me feel that maybe you don't need a manual on this car, because the automatic, it's pretty quick. It shifts pretty quick. I don't really know. Maybe for track use you want, even a manual, I would doubt a manual would shift faster than this. That's the thing. This is probably equivalent to shifting a manual very...
I mean, they say this is faster than the manual,
yeah,
but I'd still prefer to have a manual just because.
Exactly. Now, the manual has always been kind of the enthusiast choice for cars in general. It's more engaging. You have more control over the power. It's an Evo right there. Evo. I think that's a, what was that? Is that a?
That's a 10.
That's a 10. Evo 10 right back there, red one. But yeah, no. So the thing is, the manual's always been an option for those who are more into, you know, it's more of an enthusiast back road driving experience. The automatic on this car, it's fun definitely, but
the automatic actually.
Huh? Oh no, I honestly feel like
cut that out of the video. I did.
Cut that out. No, but the automatic's actually, it's fast. It's a quick automatic, and then sure, a dual clutch transmission is going to be faster, like no doubt about that. But compared to the other option that this car was offered with the manual, I don't really feel there's much performance lost, if any. You might have actually gained a lot of performance with the automatic, because a lot of people, they're not the best shifters. So if you shift this car not very skillfully, you're actually going to lose a ton of time on acceleration, especially if you miss the shift. Let's say you don't miss a shift, you just go and it automatically switches for you. It's quick. For most people, it's going to be a faster car.
Fun fact, this car, the automatic version, is more expensive than the manual.
Exactly. So by the time you're going to start, traction's on this car right now, but by the time you start losing grip, you have probably about maybe a second to figure out what the hell you're going to do before you're kind of edging on getting off the road in a ditch. So when you do end up in a ditch and you roll yourself over, well, you won't be getting too bad of a headache, hopefully. I'm not saying you guys should do that. Please don't do that. But
and the shitty useless roll bar.
And the useless roll bar behind her head that is below head level, which you can clearly see it in the video. It's right back there. It's that aluminum thing.
Does absolutely nothing.
Yeah, so it can prevent the rest of your body being crushed after you crush your neck and your head, which, I mean, at least they have something to salvage, so. Kind of get that, the reason I'm saying it's kind of a muscle car feels, the Z series have always been sort of like a Japanese muscle car almost. Like, I'm not gonna say it's really true muscle car, but it kind of is. It's kind of the Japanese interpretation of that. The reason I'm gonna say that is that also the thing that makes me think that's reminiscent of a lot of Mustangs, you have the hood bulge. On my car, you cannot see the hood at all. We're trying to make a Yui.
Yeah, like right there. So
okay,
pull in left right here, then just turn
it. Right here?
Just take it slow.
Okay, I'll just go really slow.
Like insanely slow, that's how it
So we're trying to make a U-turn without scraping his splitter.
Yeah,
okay.
You should be good.
The other thing I'm going to say about this car is the turning radius is not very good. It kind of turns like an all-wheel drive, but it's a rear-wheel drive.
I've had that problem.
Yeah,
you'll notice it.
This thing doesn't turn like my car. Mine will make a Yui like in the middle of like a 2-lane street easily. This one is like our Volvo, like the V70R. That thing doesn't turn. The V70R is worse than this. This is pretty. This is a lot. This is like in between. So it's not the best steer. Like it steers great, but the radius is kind of awful. Honest to goodness.
Switch off these little dips.
Yeah.
You'll be all good.
Honest to goodness though. The one thing I do like about this car the most is the low end torque. It's extremely punchy, it's extremely responsive. The steering is very good. So you have very in touch, tight steering. That's something I really wish I had in my car, so I might change my steering rack out, do some stuff to it to get that kind of feel. But yeah, very tight steering, very responsive, and then extremely torquey. You will go in any gear. Like you give it gas and it goes. There's no delay, you don't have to rev the heck out of this engine to get it to go. But that's probably the big thing is the low end power. And the steering feel is probably my favorite things. Least favorite things about this car from driving it so far. Honestly, based on that experience back there, the turning radius is not something to write home about. And the other thing, seats are actually pretty comfortable. I don't really know what else to say. Steering radius isn't the best, the visibility isn't that great, and
one thing I don't like is how low the car is. I feel like it could be a little higher.
That's another thing
kind
that
of unnecessarily.
That's another thing I'm gonna notice too, is that it's a little high maintenance just because of how sporty the suspension is on this car. So you have to really watch it. You got. I think it's kind of that lack of being carefree that kind of is a downside, because it's really like almost tuned for the track, the suspension. So you have to be careful when you're driving around the city. No potholes. Anytime you come to stuff like this, like you can roll it over with my car pretty well. I don't have to worry about bottoming. This one you have to be really careful. So I guess it's kind of, you know, just the lack of the carefree part on this car. You have to just be careful. You have to baby it. You can't be too careless with it, or you're gonna start scraping things.
That's my little bitch. I love her.
He loves her, so that's what matters. This concludes our review for the most part. In-depth, you know, driving review. Me and Yousef is his 370z. Thank you for letting me drive it. It's a pretty awesome car. You're probably going to see more of him, more of this car, you know, videos coming up in the future. But
it'll be cleaner in the future.
It'll be cleaner in the future. So we're going to have some good content for you guys. So see you next time, Torque Vector Productions, and checking out.